homelessness.
Help. My city needs help.
Baltimore needs therapy as well. So as a single, super single and available, just want to clarify, don't know if that's going to make the tape. But one thing I can say as a single during this pandemic, get you some therapy, okay? I'm going to say it one more time for the saints in the back. Get you some therapy. It's not good grammar, but it is good gospel. No, but seriously, it is really, really, really important that as a single, you do something different to get something different, right? We can read the books, we can look online, we can read all the posts that say work on yourself, and we think that looks like working out, and we think that looks like going to get our manicure, or whatever those things are, and those are a part of it. But the true testament of longevity, especially if you desire to be in any type of relationship, whether it's romantic, whether it's platonic, whether it's professional, there's some work that's internal, that's deep-rooted, that comes from your upbringing, that comes from your experiences, that if you don't do that work as a single person, it's going to expose itself in every relationship. And so I have never been more of a advocate for therapy in your single life, because you may find that the things that you thought you wanted, thought you needed, thought you were looking for in a partner or a job, or even with your family or the community, you don't want that after you go through some therapy, okay? Because once your edges get snatched and you start to realize that you are actually in your own way for some of the things that you desire, then you start to look at life very differently. And the things that you thought were deal breakers, you start to extend grace and say, yeah, is it really that bad, right? Or what role do I play in the reason why things aren't happening, or the reason why I haven't met the person that I met? And so my recommendation, especially in this time, especially if you are someone who gets your energy from people, I recommend that you get you a therapist, get you some Angela Harper in your life, because I'm telling you, she's a blessing. But seriously, really take full advantage of the opportunity during this solitude period to work on self, to uproot those things that are painful, to have those conversations you don't want to have. And then when you're on that journey, encourage your other single friends to do it. And then encourage your married friends and your friends in relationships and your friends in situationships and your mamas and your daddies, because mamas and daddies need it too. Because that's the change that we're going to see in the families, the generational curses we want to break, the wealth we want to build. That's not happening with a bunch of external forces. That happens internally first. And a lot of us are trying to operate on a foundation that is rocky, that is broken, that has no stability. And that's because we aren't doing the true work that therapy can bring. So my recommendation is to get you some therapy. Say it one more time for the saints in the back who don't have on their listening ears. Get you some therapy and reevaluate your therapy journey. If you don't feel like you're getting what you need, find someone who can help you get what you need, and then get in the face of God. That's just my own personal belief, is get in the face of God. And you will find that for some, it's the universe. For me, it's God will open up things that you was like, wait a minute, didn't even know I needed that. Because you've taken the time in your single life to prepare yourself for the things that you've been asking for.
I think that yoga and trauma-informed yoga is something that belongs to all humans, and certainly belongs to the young people of Baltimore, and would benefit them in innumerable ways. And I think we're seeing this. This is not This is not my idea. This is well researched. The reason we've had this resurgence of mindfulness practices as a more meaningful intervention than in-school suspension or, other behavioral management tools is because it works. And it works because behaviors are just the evidence of trauma. Behaviors are the evidence of needs not being met. And so when we recognize, oh, your behavior is telling me there's a need, there is a hurt, there is a wound that's not being met, let's make space for that. Let's make space for your breath. Let's make space for your capacity to go within. And so in yoga, we start with the breath, always. We start to quiet the body through the breath. We have a sympathetic and a parasympathetic nervous system, and the sympathetic nervous system is responsible for fight, flight, freeze. And trauma happens when we experience something that tells our body that we are in danger and we don't have a capacity to fight or to flee or to freeze. That is what causes the trauma, the inability of us to be active in our own capacity to make ourselves safe. And so that gets lodged in the body. And for so long, we have tried to liberate the body through the mind, when we actually need to liberate the mind also through the body. And so when trauma gets trapped in us because we've released adrenaline, because we've released our cortisol levels have gone up and in this stress response, movement is actually a way, and breath is actually a way to take us out of that sympathetic nervous response into the parasympathetic. So if sympathetic is fight, flight, freeze, parasympathetic is rest and digest. And so when I take control of my breath, I'm telling my body it is safe for you to move into rest and digest. It is safe for you to heal. It is safe for you to come down for this. And one of the ways you can do that is through breath and through movement. If I can, through yoga, take myself to the edge of activating my nervous system, and I start to feel, oh, I'm feeling in danger, but then we come back to the breath, then I am actually helping my body move through that activation response in this safe container of yoga. And that is going to mean that when I am activated again by something that happens out there in the world, I am more able to move from the sympathetic nervous system into the parasympathetic nervous system because I've done it in a safe container on my yoga mat or in my desk in my classroom. And I've remembered that I have those tools. So I can not only deal with my present trauma, but make myself more resilient when those future traumas come. And they will, because they happen to all of us. We all get overwhelmed with situations that we don't have the immediate capacity to solve for. So we want to build that resilience. We want to build that resilience in our young people. And so yoga is something that brings breath and movement and mindfulness, and it's something that belongs to all of humanity, and it certainly belongs to the young people of Baltimore and young people in classrooms.
While in this pandemic, men can celebrate understanding that iron sharpens iron. And I say that because without my brother, my friend, my uncle, my son, holding each other together, we could not be able to get through this. Having another strong brother to talk to understand your pain, understand what you're going through, understanding your fear. Men don't always express fear, but in this pandemic, fear is real. And being able to express it to another man and having him express what he fears as well, it's a great thing, and understanding does a lot more so.
Some words of encouragement I have are that I think a lot of people have a difficult time making that first appointment. I was the same way, and there is a stigma around it, around admitting to someone that you are struggling. But to that, I will say that mental illness is a condition, and just like a physical condition, you would go to the doctor to be treated. So don't force yourself to treat this alone either. Something else I like to tell people who are struggling with mental health conditions is that life is hard enough on its own. So there's a lot of ups and downs in life. You never really know what's coming. You always expect things to go a certain way and then they don't. And having a mental health condition can add to that disruption. So it's, in a way, your brain is literally telling you to not feel like you normally would. So even in a joyous situation, you might not really feel that happiness because your brain is masking that feeling. So I would say don't discredit that. No one's going to like this one, but I think it's really important to exercise. I know research has shown again and again and again that exercise can produce the same result in the brain as taking an antidepressant medication, and that is huge. It's like easy to access happiness. And for me, I definitely experienced that. I'm an avid runner. And on those days where I feel low or worked up or my thoughts are perseverating on something I said that morning, I know that I need to go for a run. And I do experience those mood-lifting chemicals. It's like the worry I had prior to running isn't really there after. So I think it's really, really important to find something that works for you, whether that's running or cycling or boxing or doing Zumba, whatever it is that you can consistently use as one of the options in your toolbox for those times when you are struggling.
In terms of dating, the one place that I miss the most is going downtown to the Harper. And I say that because it's so much to do down there, and me and Trenton really just enjoy each other's time sitting by the water. Sitting by the water, having a conversation, you know, and sometimes we have deep conversations, and I really, really miss that part of, you know. But another thing I do miss is going out to eat, because I love food.
What I would say me missing as far as that with dating, I would say the movies. I really like going to the movies, just being out, being able to go to eat first or go to eat after we go and see a movie. The Harbor is definitely, I like going down there and we would ride the scooters and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff that, as far as dating, we would do different things. It's not particularly one thing we would do multiple different things. I can't wait till everything lifted so we can have a picnic. So we never had a picnic, so that's what we want to do.
Black folk, culture,
Quirky.
Even success. Motivation.
misrepresentation.
It's very charming.
Although we live here in this city, is more to what people see and what we actually are.
was but everybody like this is fine.
I thought I was.
If it's just me,
this is arcane.
I don't like it.
I don't even know the camera's there.
Interact.
I don't even know the case.